how to close a webinar. You might be doing webinars and you're like, hey, my conversion rate isn't that high when I actually go to the close. That's a great place to be. Congrats on doing webinars. There is a 5-step system that I like to use anytime I close on a webinar, and it's one of the ways we've made the money we have. Let's dive in. So I've closed on almost, I think almost 100 webinars now. That's a lot of webinars, all right? I've done them a lot. I like webinars. It's actually the same way that I close on stage. Some of the webinars I've done have totally bombed. Some of them I have made pretty good money, and then there's a few handfuls that have just exploded. Here is, again, I'm gonna show you 5 things. These are 5 things, 5 phases in order on how I like to close during a webinar, and even the greats use these. Probably about almost 2 years ago, I was speaking at an event. There was 1,000 people there. It was a big event. And I got on stage and it was awesome and I was excited about it. And you know, if you've ever spoken on a stage, it's a rush. It's one of my favorite things to do ever. It's probably why I built my own. And at the end of my speech, I went and I sat back down in the audience and I was sitting there and I was watching the very next speaker, and he was up and he was watching, you know, he's one of the owners of the company, and part of the hosting. And I was watching them, and all of a sudden I realized the guy was pitching, and he was pitching on stage. And the feeling in the room was awkward. Oh my gosh, can you imagine 1,000 people feeling awkward? It feels like 10,000 people feeling awkward, okay? It was awkward, and it was like, oh, screeching to a halt. And of 1,000 people in the room, I think he closed like 20, which is an obscenely low close rate for what he was pitching. I mean, it was not an expensive thing. And I was texting my team, and I was like, why does his close feel awkward right now? Pop quiz. Why is it awkward? How could he have solved this? Biggest reason people's closes feel awkward and why you might feel awkward is because you don't ask for the sale. He didn't either. That's the reason why. If you want to sell more naturally, the solution is very, very simple. Literally just ask for the sale. Just ask. Just ask. This is how you do it. I do my pitch, I do my script, and I get to the point where I'm gonna start pitching and actually ask for their money. And this is all you ask. Hey, do you mind if I spend a few minutes going through an offer that we created for you? That's it. That's the magic question. That is how we transition from the script into pitching, right? That's how we position from storytelling into actually pitching them to go buy something from us. That right there is a simple thing. Again, do you mind if I spend a few minutes going through an offer that I created for you? And if I'm virtual on a webinar, I say, just go into the chat and put a yes. If they don't put yes, I do not pitch, and I have done that. Because the reason is psychologically and in the feeling in the room and feeling in your head, if they don't give you permission to pitch, don't. And so I've even said, hey, I know this stuff. I don't have to give you this stuff. I mean, I'd love to walk through this offer with you, and I will not move forward. Russell Brunson walked off a stage once. He didn't have to get too far, and then finally people were like, go, yeah, wait, you're waiting for you want us to say yeah? Like, yeah, we want you to engage. That right there is one of the biggest reasons why people suck at pitching. It's not because your pitch is bad. It's not because your stories were bad. It's not because your webinar was bad. It's bad because you didn't ask permission to sell them. Very simple thing to solve, very simple thing that will make you honestly a lot more money, and it changes the feeling of everything. Now, as soon as I get their permission for me to pitch them, this is all I do. We call it the stack, all right? I tell them everything they're gonna get line by line, and I loosely explain it, very, very loosely. I'm like, hey, first you're gonna get this because it'll give you that outcome. Next, I'm gonna give you this because it'll give you that outcome. Then you get this because they give you that outcome. And periodically, I'll recap it. So when you choose to invest today in XYZ program, first you'll get blank, then you'll get blank, then you get blank. Human mind is really fascinating because it really only remembers the last thing that happened to it really well. And so if I go through a stack of 5 different bonuses and then I tell them the price, a lot of times they will think the last thing is the price. So what you have to do is you have to recap and then go to the price. Okay, big strategic thing right there. I just gave you a raise. The third step I do when it's time for me to actually close is close. All right, a lot of people don't know what closing is, and they feel really awkward about it. Like, oh, I have to ask for money. I have to ask for money. I have to ask for money. First of all, yes, you do. I have a shirt that says cash is for closers. Cash is for closers. You can be the greatest marketer ever. You can be incredible at getting people wanting to buy, but if you can't close, you are not a salesperson and you are not going to make money in your business. Closing is how you tie the bow and seal the deal. You got to close. If you can't close, you get no cash, all right? Cash is for closers. So what is closing? Closing is nothing more than logical reasons to move now. Okay, you've experienced this like crazy, all right? If you guys like Black Friday or any other big, massive, industrial sale that's out there, all right? It's buy one, get one free, half off. Wait, that's a logical reason for me to move now. That's just a close, that's all it is. Buy one, get one free, half off. when they have a, those BOGO sales, or they have, those are logical reasons to move from now. So what we do is we have a list of like 10 closes, and it's the same closes every time. It doesn't matter what you're pitching. There's just 10 closes, 10 logical reasons for you to move now. We do one called Information is Not Enough, all right? I'm teaching you what I am right now on YouTube. It's very powerful, but information alone is not the thing that's actually gonna stop you. You gotta go implement it. And if you want help, it's time for you to move now, because if you get it by midnight, we're gonna give you X, Y, and Z, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, that's a close. Does that make sense? And so all we do is we think through all the logical reasons, because you have to understand, in sales psychology, when you're storytelling, hardcore right brain, creative, they're loving it, they like the stories, they get in the feels. But when you get to closing, the right side of the brain burns off all those chemicals and all those, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. All that stuff starts to burn off. And the left side of the brain goes, is this a logical, good decision? Am I a smart consumer by doing this? And you have to appease the left side of the brain. So that's why scripts are written the way they are. One is it talking to the right side, the emotional side of the brain, and buying is very, very much emotional, by the way. It's not logical. But the logical side likes to act like it's logical and go, wait, is this smart? Right, pops in and goes, is this a real thing we should be doing? Yeah, it is, because it's buy one, get one free when we act by midnight. All we're doing is we are lining up a bunch of logical reasons to act now. That's it. There's a webinar Russell was on once where they did a pitch, and webinars do not need to be an hour and a half, by the way. They can be much shorter, they can be much longer. When I'm doing an event, it literally is a webinar over 3 days. But Russell was on a webinar once where it was an hour and a half. He did his whole thing, and then the guy did an hour and a half of closes, right? It was a 3-hour thing. I'm not saying you have to be that kind of a thing, and I always laugh when people like poo-poo on that. Those guys make millions of dollars. I would not question the way they do it. Follow them, learn from them, okay? So the guy went through an hour and a half of closing, but it looked like this. Hey guys, if you're looking at Russell's offer, and you might be looking at and thinking this, right? Maybe you're thinking you can't pull this off, right? At the end of this, is this what you're thinking, right? Is this product gonna be a good fit for me, right? He just kept asking that. And what he's doing is it's called a trial close, and he just constantly illogical reasons to act now. That's all closing is. And when you can really grasp that, it's not awkward to ask for someone's money anymore. You ask for permission for the sale, you give them logical reasons to move forward at this moment, and give them a timestamp to do so. It's not a weird, slimy thing to do anymore. Before I show you 2 last steps on how I close on the internet for my webinars and how we actually pull the cash in, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Oh, we do a lot to make sure these are awesome for you. Hit subscribe. It's free for you and means a lot for us. Hit the like button if you're liking it. Hit the bell. We put these videos out every single day. And then in the comments, I thought we got a big audience. I would love it if everyone offline, what's been the greasiest, slimiest, weirdest sales tactic you've ever been a victim of? You know what I'm talking about? The person that was just like greasing that chain right there, just nasty, like what is then the nastiest sales experience you've ever had in your entire life? Step number 4 of 5, testimonials. We always get testimonials. Even if it's a brand new product, I at least will put in my own testimonial, which might feel weird at first. Or I'll get testimonials about me instead of the product if it's a brand new product. Testimonials. The reason is because you're creating so much social proof. It's crazy. You know, even if you just bought food off of like Uber Eats or something like that, how important are reviews and those stars? Huge. Even if somebody has a low review and you think the restaurant is awesome, you probably aren't going to go. It's amazing how much social proof influences us even after we've heard the pitch. So you really want to put some gas on the fire of this entire thing, you have to tell testimonials. You got to find testimonials. Do the work. I have worked for free for a lot of my products just to collect a testimonial at the end. All right? Do it the right way, do it the ethical way, but collect them. And so after I've gone through a bunch of closes, I will start to interweave testimonials. Back to the call to action, close, testimonials. Back to the call to action and close, and testimonials. And it's just, I'm doing that for a little while. And you do not have to be high pressure. I really encourage you to not be, actually. This last one is probably going to be the most awkward for you. One of my first big stage speeches and pitches, I used the webinar script, and I basically said this. Hey, to get started, all you got to do is open up a new tab. Right, or on the internet, I'll do this. All you gotta do is open up a new tab, type in blah.com or whatever the URL was, and then you're gonna fill out your information right here. Where it says name, you put your name. Where it says email, that's where you're gonna put your email. Your shipping address, that's actually where you are right now because we wanna be able to ship something to you. This is stupid obvious, but it's not obvious. There are some fascinating case studies around someone boosting conversion rates on the order page by recording themselves buying and then just putting that video on the order page. It'll double conversions. Weirdest thing, people, you understand that not the whole world is on the internet yet. And some people actually don't know how to fill out an order form. So really, really simply, one of the things that I do it on stages for expensive stuff. I do it on webinars for cheap stuff. I do it on really, really cheap pages. Like if you go and you get our swag, like I tell you, open up a new tab or click the red button, put your information in. It sounds really, really easy, but what you're actually doing is you're saying, just create don't take a lot of steps, 3 steps. Step number 1, do this. Step number 2, do this. Step number 3, do this. That's how you purchase, right? And that might feel weird and clunky, but man, I did that 6 times on stage, the last big pitch I did. 6 times. You would think it's obvious for a bunch of people who follow me who are internet marketers that they would know how to buy it. They don't. And not everyone does. So I actually will pull up the order page and I will walk them through how to fill out the order page. Even though it says name, I walk through the order page. Even though it says email, walk through the order page. Stupid simple, might seem oversimplified, one of the easiest ways to make more money on your webinars. Hey guys, got a free gift here for you. If you like internet sales, you like the strategies of using the internet, I love the leverage of the internet. There is a free presentation you can go watch that will show you 3 campaign styles that I love to use. It's my 3 most profitable campaign styles over the last 3 years. Right? We're getting near 9 million. We did about 8 million in 3 years. Okay, that's crazy. What are the campaigns that did that? That's what I'm gonna show you. It's free. Go to internetlaunchsecrets.com. Internetlaunchsecrets.com is also in the description below if you don't wanna type it.